This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
Bougainville peace agreement and referendum explained. Police conduct investigation in Mount Bosavi. And ExxonMobil presents inaugural Power Play Awards. Good evening, you're watching National EMTV News. I'm Grace Papiali. Thank you for joining us. Minister of Bougainville Affairs, Manasseh Makiba, has presented his ministerial statement yesterday on the floor of Parliament, highlighting the Bougainville Peace Agreement and the Bougainville referendum update. In recent years, the government of Papua New Guinea has held discussions on the Bougainville crisis and peace process. An important agenda was presented by the minister responsible for Bougainville affairs, Manasseh Makiba. Minister Makiba spoke on these two important agendas. Minister Makiba gave the brief history of the Bougainville crisis before elaborating further.
Under the autonomy process, the agreement was that an autonomous form of government must be established for Bougainville. The autonomous Bougainville government was established in 2005 with powers and functions that are available to it as provided under Section 290 of the National Constitution.
Hence, the Bougainville Peace Agreement based on three pillars or processes. The first one is on autonomy. Bougainville has held its autonomous government system in existence for 18 years.
Since the signing of the Bougainville Peace Agreement in 2001, arms have been removed from the fighting zones and communities in Bougainville with the assistance of the United Nations Observer Mission on Bougainville, under a three-stage weapons disposal plan that included 1. Storage of weapons in single-locked containers, 2. Concentration of stored weapons in fewer and double-locked containers with one key held by the United Nations Observer Mission on Bougainville.
The second one is on weapons disposal.
Mr. Speaker, but for the purposes of the Bougainville Peace Agreement, the United Nations Observer Mission on Bougainville has certified that there has been satisfactory disposal of the weapons.
Bougainville Peace Agreement spells out that Bougainvillians must be given an opportunity to indicate their preferred political future through a referendum, which is the third pillar of the Bougainville Peace Agreement.
The referendum ballot would provide independence as one of the choices. The constitutionally guaranteed referendum was held in November of 2019, and 97.7% of participants voted in favor of the independence option, and two agreed choices being higher autonomy or independence. Mr. Speaker, although the people of Bougainville have voted overwhelmingly for independence, both the Bougainville Peace Agreement and the National Constitution requires that the National Parliament must make a decision on the referendum result.
Police Commissioner David Manning gave his assurance that all resources of the government will be utilized in a special operation to end the actions of the kidnappers in Bosavi LLG, Hela Province. MTV News understands security personnel, including both PNG Defence Force and police officers, are currently at Moro, waiting to be airlifted to Mount Bosavi for investigations to commence.
Commissioner Manning said this joint operation will be on location in Bosavi to conduct further investigations after the release of the female hostages from Walago village that were held captive by armed criminals last week. After their release over the weekend, the captives were airlifted tomorrow by Santos and ExxonMobil. The girls went through medical checks there, and every effort is being made to ensure they have the support they require to get through this ordeal. More so, the St. John's medical team was airlifted tomorrow to assist with medical checks of the victims. Commissioner Manning said this joint security operation will be relentless, further assuring the general public that security personnel will persist these ruthless criminals until they are captured and brought to face justice. This joint security operation, comprising PNG Defence Force personnel, Special Services Division, and police investigators, are on the ground now, explained Commissioner Manning. He is calling for the support and cooperation of leaders at all levels from the village, district, provincial and national level to deal with this matter. Although challenged with poor communication in the area, the lack of road networks into the area, lack of road links accompanied by the rugged terrains, still security forces are determined to locate and deal with this threat, said Commissioner Manning. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Meantime, prominent Bosavi community living in the nation's capital, including leaders from the area, have appealed to provincial leaders to work together to help bring these criminals to justice. They have further appealed for government services, including a much-needed road link to be set up in Bosavi.
These are some of the concerned men from Mount Bosavi and Mount Sisa LLGs. They have all gathered to condemn the Kidnap Act last week in Bosavi and to call on the government to intervene by providing much-needed government services that are lacking there.
Prime Minister Honorable James Marabe and the Governor Blonghela, Philip Undialu, it's time for you to bring services. Time for to look into Bosavi. Bosavi is one of the area we're located in the southern horizon area. Now still living in the colonial area where government services have not been reached. Now it's established.
More so, Paul Peter, a prominent public servant in NCD, and a Bosavi man from Mount Sisa LLG, emotionally described the Kidnapping Act as heinous and disgraceful.
Papua New Guinea, the world need to sabe long this la, na condemn him. This la kind of criminal activities long kidnap him, all legally all beginning from 9 years old into 17 or 15 years old. Well, stop the classroom yet. Well, sit down one time, mama, papa, blow long kaike na salary lo sleep. Karangani go inside na Rosimol. Time all the sit down lo sock. Well, papa, mama, blow no kadwan lo birua one time all the all criminals. I mean, heinous, not disgraceful.
All their appeals is of the same sentiment. They want government services like roads and schools and aid posts, but most importantly, they want law and order to be fully effective and security personnel to be stationed there. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
The best of the best in the LNG industry was celebrated at the inaugural Power Play Awards Papua New Guinea alongside guest of honor Kerengakua, Minister for Petroleum and Energy, government, business leaders and key industry players at a reception in Port Moresby. Presented by ExxonMobil, the Power Play Awards Papua New Guinea is an external initiative that acknowledges women across all levels of government, local business and the diverse landowner communities for their contributions to the PNG LNG industry.
The Minister for Petroleum and Energy, Kerengakua, praised the program for highlighting Papua New Guineans for recognition and to encourage them to keep PNG moving forward.
This kind of exercise is very important because we need to be encouraged and motivated. It's a big part of preparing young people, older people, to stay motivated and to bring out the best in everything they do. So because this particular program is designed towards encouraging generally our young ladies, our ladies in the professions and the trade in this country. It's special.
Following the program's launch in PNG on International Women's Day on March the 8th, 2023, an esteemed and independent panel of judges, including Rufina Peter, Governor of Central Province, Dari Toka, Chairman of Motokoita Assembly and Deputy Governor of NCD, and Sir Mahesh Patel, Chairman CPL Foundation, were assembled to review nominations across the three categories of the Rising Star, the Pioneer, and the Ambassador. Valentina Carmen, MRDC, was named ambassador for a deep-seated conviction that nation building is a shared responsibility that underscores her dedication to knowledge and education as mighty tools for unlocking Papua New Guinea's full potential. Dr. Jane Mogina, Total Energies, was named the pioneer for her leadership in developing Papua New Guinea's first LNG biodiversity offset program, establishing the PNG LNG project's environmental program credibility and her work to shape the biodiversity efforts for the country's second LNG development, the Papua LNG project. Jasmine Harrison, Senior Manager at Placements PNG, was named the Rising Star for her commitment to contractor workforces across the LNG industry and a passion for removing potential barriers for young Papua New Guineans entering the workforce. In congratulating the inaugural recipients of the Best, Tara Chandra, Chairperson and Managing Director at ExxonMobil PNG, stated that through power play, all of Papua New Guinea can recognize the contributions these women and men make to the LNG industry and the country.
Know that when we move women forward, they move the world forward. And as I look around the room tonight, I am incredibly inspired, and I can't help but think that it does really take a village. When we reflect on the 9 years of the PNG LNG project, there is no doubt in our minds that the Papua New Guinean workforce has been instrumental in our success, but they haven't done it alone. There are thousands of women and men across PNG that have really led to the establishment of this industry here.
The best of the best from the Power Play Awards Papua New Guinea will go on to represent PNG on the international stage in the Global Power Play Awards. If the award entry is successfully shortlisted by judges in the competition's next round, ExxonMobil PNG will sponsor their attendance to join an exclusive community of power players from across the LNG industry at the awards ceremony held during the Gas Tech in Singapore from the 5th to the 8th of September. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Community advocacy organization Act Now has launched a new website today to promote transparency and accountability on how government funds are used across all 94 districts in Papua New Guinea. The website will provide the general public, officials and academics with impartial and non-partisan information on the work of each district development authority.
This District Development Authority Watts website, www.ddawatts.org, will provide contact details for its DDA and allow the authorities to make available copies of their development plans, annual budgets, acquittals, and inspection reports. The website aims to improve the quality of local infrastructure and service delivery. The website will also encourage public participation in a democratic process through social auditing. This was further explained by the information coordinator.
We have talked with all of the district, we've passed on letters, we've reached out to them, and it's in a work in progress. The website is in a work in progress, so eventually after we launch this today, we will have to update all of those information, and whenever we collect those information, we are working back end with DIRD as well. So we're thinking of uploading all of this information to each of the districts.
DDAs were created in 2014 and this year will be responsible for spreading almost 2 billion kina in government grants. But Act Now campaign manager Eddie Tanagos says there is very little information available to public on how those taxpayer monies are used.
Although, unfortunately, though there are a lot of issues of governance, issues of accountability, and issues of transparency within the DDA system, the institutions like the Department of Implementation and Rural Development, institutions like the Auditor General, they really struggle to track and verify the spendings of the DDAs involved. There is really lack of easy access to information. The districts also struggle to maintain the communication and provide that information to its constituents, the very people that are the beneficiaries of these funds. They don't even know what's happening. To try and address these issues, Act Now has designed and built the new DDA Awards website.
The website will be politically neutral and the information about each district authority will be presented without any bias, favor or discrimination.
The website will allow the public to score the performance of their DDA and to submit comments and photographs of the local district projects. It is free, completely free to access, and has been funded through public donations.
Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
324 women's association groups across the various wards in the Mosby South electorate presented their monitoring and evaluation reports to their local Member of Parliament, Justin Tachenko. The evaluation reports encapsulates the acquittals and breakdown of the initial seed money given to the various women's associations in the electorate as far back as 2019.
It has been said biblically that the women are a large army, and this was evident late yesterday afternoon as women's groups from the Mosby South electorate took over the Mosby South office at City Hall. These women from all walks of life showcased their arts and crafts and presented their reports to the Mosby South MP Justin Tachenko. A prominent woman among the many women was chairperson for the Miss Pasig Island pageant, Miss Molly O'Rourke, who was present to represent the Wabukori Development Association. She spoke of the successes faced by the women in her ward.
Minister not only supported us with our SME, but Minister was very generous, very generous to be able to assist by building a resource center for us. So, Minister, without that space for us, we would not be able to do the programs that we are doing now. I now have started the interest groups for the women. So, focus now is on sewing, cooking.
Ms. O'Rourke also spoke of the challenges faced.
You know, we had to give out microloans to our members, give them all money now, or by going. Try and make it big or try and work that money to be able to build it up. But you know, we live in a community where it's so difficult to be able to plenty of months are come now, dinner comes first before sales come. So a lot of the little SMEs didn't go very far. All right, but that did not stop us.
In addressing the women in his electorate, Justin Tachenko thanked the women for the reports.
Very important to me. Every woman sitting here, every woman sitting in your women's association, over 30,000 women from Mosby South throughout nearly 340 women associations registered through a process. You have done marvelously well under very difficult circumstances. Give yourselves another big round of applause.
The local member also revealed that based on the reports, he will be in a better position to move on to the next phase of assistance.
We want to make sure that the first round of funding that we did is accounted for number one, has been utilized properly, number two, and has benefited you, the women, over the last couple of years. There has been many success stories, many personal success stories and associations. Some, we have to be honest, have failed, but a lot have succeeded.
The success of these various women's groups was shown by a small Prayer Warriors Association who built up capital to buy a brand new highway truck which has been used and was officially unveiled yesterday by the Moresby South MP. The reports from the women will also assist Sichenko in presenting his DSIP acquittals to the Department of Implementation and Rural Development. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
Entrepreneurs from East Sepik Province have benefited from a week-long workshop themed as Group Enterprise Development that was aimed to equip them with essential management skills and promote gender equality in leadership roles in agribusiness groups. As part of the implementation of the European Union-funded Straight PNG program, the workshop was organized by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations.
According to the FAO Gender and Youth Inclusion Specialist who led the capacity building workshop, poor accountability and management are the leading causes of business failure. One of the reasons for many of the failures is that women and youths are often not included in leadership positions within groups. The workshop aimed to upskill women and youth in managerial positions, thereby building their confidence to manage the operation of their group businesses for sustainability. The workshop, which attracted 48 participants, including women and youths, provided a rewarding opportunity for discussions and group work, as well as presentations on group agribusiness management, group dynamics, financial literacy, and gender and youth inclusion in agribusinesses. Throughout the workshop, interactive group exercises were assigned to participants on example of how to prepare cash books, debtors records, credit records, labor records, cash flow and balance sheets to better manage the revenues and expenses of businesses. The capacity building workshop concluded with a study tour of the FAO Tioroya Technology Fish Processing Setup in Karawap in Wewak District, which the program is piloting in partnership with Karawambo Women's Business Group with membership of 200 women, including 74 female youths. Estagane, National EMTV News.
As part of a refresher course for Papua New Guinea Fire Service, firefighters across the country are undertaking a 2-week theory and practical training. Today, a practical live drill exercise of Road Accident Rescue, or RAR, was displayed by the participating firefighters at the PNG Fire Service Training College at Gerehu in the nation's capital.
This training aims to equip firefighters with tactical skills and knowledge when responding to emergencies. Clement Wane, Inspector for Tactical Training, explains the objective of the RAR drill.
What we are doing here is maintaining the skills competency on road accident rescue. Most of them are new. Some have been in the fire service for quite a while, but due to the nature of work that they do, RAR at outstation are not normal daily occurrence. It's like a monthly or yearly occurrence. So some of the skills in road accident rescue, they have already only loosening kind of thing.
The participants are from 12 provincial fire service stations. Among the men is one female officer, Philippa Haunembo, who shared her experience thus far, also stating that Popondeta Fire Station, where she is stationed, does not have a fire truck with RAR equipment and breathing apparatus for their firefighting operations.
During these 2 weeks, My male colleagues were so supportive, and though it was challenging, but knowing that if men can do it, I can do it. And we all carry that name tag, firefighter. So that gave me courage and confidence to go through this training.
Officer Haunembo is a pioneer female firefighter in the country who has served for the past 13 years. Sub-Officer Gary Watts, participant from Kimbe Fire Station, shared the same sentiments.
It's a good time that we have come again to refresh, all right? So things that we have forgotten or that we have been done, we are doing it in this training, and it is bringing back the thoughts or skills that we have.
Sub-Officer Watts has been in service for 23 years. The participants of this refresher course will return to their various PNG fire service stations and impart these skills to their colleagues. Amanda Ilaitia, National EMTV News.
And now we take a look at the Nest Fund market report. The Kina closed unchanged at $0.2820 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, Yokina was buying $0.2745 US, $0.4024 Australian dollars, $0.2468 euro, 38.07 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee closed lower, cocoa closed higher, copper closed lower, palm oil closed higher, crude oil is trading higher, copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading higher, the All Ordinaries is trading higher. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Moving over to overseas news now, and communities across Australia are mourning the loss of the 10 victims of Sunday night's Hunter Valley bus crash this morning, after all their identities were made public yesterday.
Yeah, we heard yesterday, of course, the names and identities of the 10 people who died on the New South Wales Hunter region during that fatal bus crash on Sunday night. 8 of those, sadly, were Hunter locals and the other 2 from interstate. So that has really rocked the community here in the Hunter Valley, but also touched lives right across the country. And among those were couples, mother and daughter, and close ties to the local AFL Singleton Roosters Club. So really tragic news there. And of course, many still remain in hospital, injured, recovering.
Yes, give us the update on those people who are in hospital still.
So there are still 13 people from the crash who remain in hospitals across the Hunter and Sydney regions. 9 of those are here at John Hunter's Hospital in Newcastle. The good news, though, is that they are all in a stable condition. Originally, 25 people were taken to hospital, so of course people have been discharged throughout the past couple of days, and it sounds like the remaining are hopefully on the mend.
Tell us about the bus driver. You were in court yesterday when he made his first appearance.
Yes, 58-year-old Brett Andrew Button appeared in Cessnock local court yesterday. He's been charged with 10 counts of dangerous driving occasioning death, and he was granted bail at court yesterday, strict conditional bail. He was released yesterday afternoon, picked up by family, and those conditions of his bail include the fact that he will have to abide by a nighttime curfew, report to police 3 times a week, and he's also had to surrender his passport, and the matter will return to court in August.
The Northern Territory Coroner has opened a series of investigations into the deaths of 4 Aboriginal women who were killed by their partners.
Hours before a fire which ultimately claimed her life, Kumanjai Haywood sent a frantic and tragic series of texts. "He's going to kill me tonight. Love you so much. Don't cry for me," she wrote. 3 minutes later, "He's going to kill me tonight. Love you so much. Always and forever in my heart." On November 5, 2021, 34-year-old Kumanjai Haywood was hiding in the bathroom of a house in the Hidden Valley town camp just outside of Alice Springs when her partner, Kumanjai Dixon, poured fuel outside the door before igniting it with a cigarette lighter. The woman, who'd been subjected to his attacks for around 20 years, suffered burns to 90% of her body and died 2 days later. Kumanjai Dixon also died from his injuries. As the Northern Territory coroner opened the first of 4 inquests into the deaths of Aboriginal women at the hands of their partners, horrifying details of 40 instances of domestic violence between Ms Haywood and Mr Dixon were laid bare. If it is relentless for us to hear about in court, then imagine how relentless it must have been to endure month after month and year after year.
The Australian Army is undergoing a major change in how it trained soldiers in Darwin to be ready to serve within the Indo-Pacific region.
On the Tiwi Islands, just north of Darwin, the Australian Defence Force is changing how it trains, moving from land-based training to in and around shallow waters.
We've seen a fundamental change in where our focus is.
The training previously prepared troops for conflict in Afghanistan, but will now focus on the Indo-Pacific region, where troops would need to navigate beaches and islands, a similar program to that undertaken by US Marines.
With the increasing contested environment that the world is finding itself in, using the 1st Brigade as Australia's primary interactor inside the archipelagic region to our north provides a number of really good options for our government.
We still are infantry soldiers, however we're just adapting to do this in the environment and the geography we live in.
The change involves managing operations from the water too.
This floating command post is an essential part of the 1st Brigade's shallow water operation, and it can also act as a bit of a bridge. Parts of it can fold out, allowing them to transport personnel and equipment across water.
The shift is part of the Defence Strategic Review, which discusses China's military build-up, saying it's occurring without transparency or reassurance to the Indo-Pacific region. But one think tank cautions against drawing conclusions, as this change also enables the ADF to better provide humanitarian aid.
Certainly we shouldn't draw any direct conclusions between China's increasing military build-up and this being a specific response to that.
The Army says the changes could lead to a greater presence in Darwin, with more personnel being assigned to serve in the top end.
In the UK, a 31-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of murder after 3 people were found dead on the street in the city of Nottingham.
Police say that this is an attack that took part in 3 parts, 3 separate incidents that they have now linked together. They say they first received a call from the public about 4 a.m, so very early in the morning, with reports of a stabbing attack in Nottingham. When they arrived, they found 2 19-year-old university students that had been stabbed to death. They were there, their bodies on a street. About an hour later, they were called to another incident. Police went to a scene where a man had allegedly drove a stolen white van at a number of pedestrians, 3 pedestrians being hit. One of them remains in a critical condition. And then some time later, they also found the body of a man in his 50s who had also been stabbed to death. He was in a 3rd location. Police allege that man in his 50s was the owner of that stolen van. So the timeline for this incident is still unfolding.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
True Kai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Papua New Guinea Comol's back row Roderick Tai, who recently joined the Dolphins camp with former Hunters player Junior Moria, is likely to join the Comols, says Hunters coach Stanley Tappend.
Now, Papua New Guinea Comol's back rower Roderick Tai is likely to sign a new NRL contract with the Brisbane Dolphins. Now, Junior Moria and Roderick has been with the Dolphins for the last few weeks, training in preparations for a better outcome. Now, unfortunately, Junior Moria is back with the SPPNG Hunters, whereas Roderick Tai is still with the Dolphins. Now, there's a possibility he might be joining the Dolphins team later in the year, but nothing has been confirmed. Now, this is per advice the SPPNG Hunters head coach Stanley Tappend. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports, Kundiawa.
PNG Kickboxing Federation is now gearing up to send one of its international fighter, Nelson Samson, to Sydney, Australia to attend an international bout in June 23.
It's been only a week ago since the PNG Kickboxing Federation hosted their very first event in a long while. Now also this year, PNG Kickboxing Federation is also preparing to send one of its top international fighter, the president for Desert Storm Kickboxing Club, Nelson Samson, who's been very instrumental in supporting PNG Kickboxing Federation with their sporting event this year. Now, Nelson has been training very hard alongside his athletes at the Sir John Guy Stadium in Port Moresby, where he's been preparing for his international bout, which is set to take place in June 2023 in Sydney, where he will take his international opponent in Sydney, Australia. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports, Kundiawa.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Moving to overseas sports now, and after 4 decades, the Denver Nuggets can call themselves NBA champions after defeating the Miami Heat by 6 points. This is the first championship for the franchise since it began in the 1980s.
The Heat started quite strongly and led by 2 at quarter time and then by 7 at the main break. 51-44 was the score when they went back into the change rooms. However, with the benefit of home support, the Nuggets came back in the second half. They had a big third quarter and they took a 1-point lead into the final period. Jokic also won the finals MVP. He had an unprecedented run in the playoffs, becoming the first player to lead the playoffs in total points, rebounds and assists. Not bad for a centre.
The Curious lost on his comeback from knee surgery 7-5, 6-3 this morning to Chinese player Wu Yibing, the first round at Stuttgart Open.
The 2022 Wimbledon finalist was far from his best in his first match of the year. He's actually a 2-time semi-finalist at the tournament, and he was playing for the first time since October in Tokyo. The 28-year-old had a knee operation back in January. Remember, he pulled out of the Australian Open right on the eve of that tournament. Wu, who was playing his first professional match on grass, next faces Martin Fucsovics, who rallied to come back from behind to defeat Denis Shapovalov 3-6, 6-3, 6-4.
And in cricket, Australian fast bowler Josh Hazlewood has warned that any attempts by England to produce flat wickets for their aggressive batters could backfire and actually play right into Australia's hands for the Ashes.
The Australian side won't get a proper picture of how the wicket has been prepared until the back end of the week. The Ashes commence this Friday. Back in April, English captain Ben Stokes told the pitch curators that he wanted fast wickets designed for quick scoring. But as far as Hazlewood is concerned, this will play directly into the Aussies' hands, as they would effectively be playing on the kind of wickets he and his teammates have grown up on.
And that ends True Kai Sports. The weather report is next. Stay with us.
Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
Now we take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In the southern region, Port Moresby City, partly cloudy with a chance of a shower or two. Daru, mostly fine and windy. Kerama, cloudy with rain showers and possible thunderstorms. Alotau, partly cloudy with few evening showers and possible thunderstorms. Papandera, occasional rain showers and possible thunderstorms, then cloudy. In the Momase region, Lay City, partly cloudy with chance of evening shower or two. Madang, partly cloudy with chance of a shower or two. Wewak, cloudy with few showers and possible thunderstorms. Vanimo, partly cloudy with few showers and possible thunderstorms. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, occasional rain showers and possible thunderstorms, then cloudy. Kavang, occasional rain showers and possible thunderstorms, then cloudy. Kokopo and Rabaul, partly cloudy with evening showers and thunderstorms. Kimbe, partly cloudy with evening showers and thunderstorms. Buka, partly cloudy with few evening showers and possible thunderstorms. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen City, rain showers and possible thunderstorms, then low cloud basis. Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, rain showers, drizzles and possible thunderstorms, then low cloud basis tonight.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for this Wednesday, the 14th of June 2023. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Have a wonderful, safe working week. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.